I don't know whether you can hear me or not. Maybe some of what I'm saying will echo through.
And we're rolling. Welcome back to Trust God, bro. Woo! Sometimes you have to generate the hype yourself. Yeah, Amanda, she's bringing the hype, and we're in the crossings. We have our live audience in the kitchen as we speak. The live audience is glaring. No, just kidding. Graciously, we had an apartment here at the crossings that opened up their apartment, and we kind of came to share this. I'm on my lunch break. It's over the lunch hour, so hey, maybe it's all right.
Maybe.
So, I'm really excited. We have Amanda Edelman with us.
It's good to be here.
Yeah. And so we're talking about trusting God when you don't know what to do, trusting God in the unknown. And before we kind of get into this, I wanted to start off with a little bit of exciting news. There is a giveaway for this Brit & Co. journal that I ordered a couple months ago for the podcast. And I thought that, it'd be a good way to get people engaged and start this Instagram account. And so I said the first 100 followers would be entered in this drawing. And I'm going to honor my word, and I have it ready to go. And I generated this wheel with 100 names. Not quite 100. It's a little bit under because it's family. And I haven't actually reached 100. I was probably 90. Oh, I didn't mean to spin it. I wanted to get more. Okay, well, that's awkward. The spin was Zach Plattner. Thank you. There was lots of names on here, so thank you for following Zach Plattner. You can get. Actually, let's spin the wheel again for stickers.
Stickers.
Yeah, there you go. One more. You ready?
Yes.
Say spin.
Spin.
Naomi Zimmerman.
Whoa.
That's how you say it, right, Naomi?
Yeah.
Okay. Naomi Zimmerman. It's just kind of fun to spin. You can't see this, but it's just so fun. There's so many names on here. Whoa! And we got Barr.
Macy Barr. She's gonna live at.
Is she?
33.
Okay, Macy Barr.
Yeah.
Let's do it one more, because this is addicting. I'm sorry, we're actually gonna start. And Tyler Hukulin. Alright, we're done spinning. Thank you. Okay. Okay.
Is that fun?
That was really fun. Sorry you couldn't see it. I had to let the camera see it. Without further ado, Amanda, who are you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And if you were an Uno card, what Uno card would you be?
Okay, so my name's Amanda. I go to Gridley Apostolic Christian Church, and I actually work for my family business. We have a barbecue food truck that just started up about a month ago. So that's super fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. And if I was an Uno card, I would be a yellow 7.
Mm-hmm.
7, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 7.
There's a 7 in Uno.
Yeah. Because 7's my favorite number.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And yellow's your favorite color?
I really like yellow.
Yeah.
Yellow's be me. Yellow 7.
Good. Yellow 7. And that's cool with the food truck. So what do you do for your family? Your role, your job?
I mean, I help make some of the food.
Mm-hmm.
My dad cooks the meat,
mm-hmm.
and my mom makes all the mac and cheese and coleslaw.
Mm-hmm.
And I help my dad with slicing it
mm-hmm.
and pretty much just whatever they need me to do. And then when we serve it, I help put the orders together with my brother.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Super fun.
Yeah, that's exciting. And the food truck's new. It's 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
We've been open for like 3 weeks, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will they be around in, this area? Is there like a schedule? So
There
people
is a
can
schedule.
like go?
We have a Facebook page. Woody and Bubba's Barbecue.
Woody and Bubba's Barbecue.
Yep. We have a Facebook page.
We are
post
sponsored
where we
by Woody's and Bubba's Barbecue today.
Yeah. So we have a Facebook page that tells where we're at every week.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of just move around a lot, but we're mostly in Fairbury and Forest. But we come to Bloomington every once in a while.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So check out their schedule. And then I feel like something that's interesting about you, one more, for people to get to know before we get into this episode, what does your daily diet consist of? Like, what do you eat for a day? I feel like that's something that's not common.
Well, I have a lot of allergies, so I eat a lot of fruits and veggies and meat because I have a gluten allergy.
Yeah.
And many other things, so.
Yeah.
Eat very healthy.
Very healthy. We were on a bus trip, and you're eating like...
Oh, yeah. We stopped at Walmart, and I got mangoes.
And
one time I ate a whole bag of carrots when we stopped.
Yeah.
I ate a lot of carrots.
Yeah. I mean, those are the foods that's like hard to kind of get full on versus like everyone else is like going to fast food and you're having a bag of carrots.
Bag of carrots, yep. That's me.
Yeah. So this topic I'm pretty excited for, and I've thought about a good amount that it's kind of been rolling over in my head, and it's pretty fresh for you.
Yep.
Would you say that?
Yeah.
Like this idea, trusting God when you don't know what to do, trusting God in the unknown. And so, to start, I wanted to ask, do you struggle with being decisive?
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every time we would go on family vacations and go out to eat, it would take me so long to figure out what to get.
Yeah.
Because there's too many options, and I just don't like making decisions.
Yeah.
Because, like, I just want other people to pick because I don't want my opinion to, like, be different than someone else's.
Yeah.
Like, if they want something really bad and then I pick and then they don't get it, then I just feel bad. So I want other people to pick for me.
Yeah, like you want everyone to be happy in the choice. You don't want to upset the water. And, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and I think I remember when I first started at Chick-fil-A working there. This was in high school, and it was the first day on the job. And after it was like, hey, you get a free meal or whatever. And then so me and this other person that just started the day were, ordering, and like I just couldn't make up my mind. And maybe I just do this, and other people, and I've never noticed before. But then she told me, it's like, we're really gonna work on you being decisive. It's like you just can't. You're like trying to decide, like, do I want to shake? Because like they were pretty much like first day you can kind of get whatever you want.
Yeah.
Then after that you can kind of eat only certain employee meals or stuff like that.
Yeah. So then you don't want to pick something bad. And
Yeah.
It's like, you want to pick the right thing.
Yeah, it's like, do I go chocolate or vanilla or cookies and cream or, so I don't know. Decisions are a tough thing for me, and being decisive is difficult. Some people might be easier, but there's so many decisions we make in a day, whether it's like work, life, like relationships. I think during a day we make thousands of decisions, whether it's like, for food alone, like, and then you think about getting to where you're going, like during the day you make so many micro decisions. Yeah. Part of that leads to confusion and just like this unknown and this like ambiguity, and I guess I wanted to ask, like, do you think that's common for other people too? Like, do you think that's common for people of our generation?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a very big thing because like our generation, we're getting to the age where we're making lots of big choices. Yeah. Like where we're going to college, like all the things, where we want to work. Yeah. And it seems like everyone is putting this pressure on us that we need to know what we're going to do. Yeah. And like we need to have everything figured out, and we need to be doing these certain things. Yeah. So it's kind of stressful to make all the right choices. Yeah. Yeah. I think it is this age of like,
19, 20, like you're like the life is moving so fast and like people are all these things are happening, and so yeah, I mean it is a very difficult age for that.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, like it's difficult for people that are 40 and that are like trying to decide like, okay, how do I step into this new stage of life of like parenting a teenager when I've never had a teenager before. So all people feel it, and so it's probably a little bit different. But this idea isn't foreign from us. I think it's very close to what we experience in life. And whether you're listening to this and having a certain decision on your mind right now, because I think if I was you and I was like, oh, hey, this episode, I want to listen to this, there's something you're probably thinking about. You know, something you're rolling over in your head, and it's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, and so you kind of had that thing going on, and it's more of a constant road of these things. But I guess I do want to ask, like, whatever it is for you, picture that biggest decision you have to make right now, and then ask yourself, how important is it? And I think when we consider these decisions, we have a tendency to make it the biggest decision. Like, this is the biggest thing, when really it's just a thing in the midst of a bunch of other things, like a many other things. And so that's like the path of life that God has before us. And so I think it's really easy just to make this like all-consuming and just like pressure onto this decision. And that's just some perspective, I guess. But I do want to give meaningful and helpful things to consider when you're going through this. To start, I think it would be helpful to hear a little bit from you, Amanda, on just kind of your story and what's happened for you. So she actually reached out to me and was like, hey, I think this is a good podcast idea. I'm like, hey, I think that's a really good idea. I wrote this
last fall.
Yeah. And I, thought about it a little bit and then kind of forgot. And then, stuff like started happening. I just like started taking notes, and I read a book that kind of talks about this, and like it just kept coming up. And literally this past week, I think I've talked to like 3 different people, and that's like what they were all saying, like was the same thing of like, yeah, it's like, I don't know, what to do. And there's just so much unknown and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, for you, what did that look like? And you said in the fall, like what were you going through?
So coming out of high school, I took a CNA class, finishing up my last semester of high school. And I took summer classes to like get ahead and get like more points because I wanted to be a nurse. Yeah. That's what I was planning to do. And like that's what I've always wanted to be. So it just seemed like the next steps to take. I was doing what I needed to do. And then in the fall, I like started taking more classes. And I realized that I really did not want to be a nurse. Like it just I didn't like school. I never wanted to do my homework. I like school came like fairly easy for me. Like it wasn't like school was hard, but I just didn't enjoy it at all. I just was stressed all the time trying to figure out when to do homework, and I didn't feel like I could do anything, like hang out with people, because I was always just stressed about school. Yeah. And I didn't like that life. Like, it was just terrible. Yeah. Because I was just focused on school all the time, and I was always stressed. And, like, I didn't feel like my walk with God was very great because I was just always doing school. And I feel like God was calling me to something more than that. And so I decided to take a semester off and figure out if I wanted to go back. And I was just going to work for a semester, and then after that maybe go back. And there was just a lot of unknown because it felt weird since everyone else was going to college, and suddenly I didn't want to anymore. And it was just very different than what everyone else was doing, and I just didn't know at all. Yeah. Because if I wasn't going to go to school, where was I going to work? What was I even going to do? Yeah. And so it definitely took a lot of faith because I just had to trust God
bro.
And
Punchline.
yeah. But it was really good for me because it just taught me a lot of patience and like trusting God for the next step. And like doors just opened slowly. Like I started working at Gobina in Gridley.
Gobina. Love that.
And so like he just slowly opened doors, and like it was okay that I didn't really know because he knew. Yeah. And he was just going to slowly open the doors for me. And yeah.
That's really sweet. I mean, thanks for sharing that. I think it's cool to see your attitude as you went through that. And so you have it all figured out now?
No. But it's just, you just have to have patience, and you have to know that God has a plan, and he's not just going to leave you to figure it out for yourself. And like you were saying before, it made me think of something. Like we make everything feel like the biggest decision in our life. But it's not like if we make the wrong decision, then our whole life is going to go off track and we're never going to get it back. Like every decision we make, God can still bring us through and like work it for good. Yeah. Like every choice that we make will have purpose, and like it'll be okay. Yeah. It's not like your life is going to be over if you make the wrong choice.
Yeah. And it's like, it's one decision in the midst of many decisions. Yeah. And so like the book, The Next Right Thing, that I was reading that kind of got me thinking about this, was that it says, don't look for answers, but look for arrows. Like we think it's like black and white answers, when really it's like, we're kind of looking towards like arrows, like, okay, what's like the next best thing like right now? Like for me, like, you know, what is going on in my life and stuff, like what is, instead of thinking about all these out there situations, which are all like, you know, in your head, like hypothetical, it's easy to do. So I guess for a short summary and, you know, a bullet point for this podcast would be like an attitude and not answers. Like you're looking for more for an attitude and not answers in your life. And I think one of those attitudes that you pointed out was really helpful for you probably. And I mean, it's been helpful for me to think. And you said this, like, I don't know, but I know the one who does. And I think that's something that you can keep going back to, because there's just like this tension in our lives that you feel that I have to have it all figured out, and you just keep running against this wall. It's like, I don't know. And that's originally one of the reasons why like Adam and Eve, like they fell, because they bit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because they wanted to know everything. And we're not made to know everything. Like that's the reason like we sinned and, you know, fell away from God. And so like naturally, like we're not going to know, but we know the one who does know everything. So I thought that was really cool with how you said that. So part of that, there's this verse that stuck out to me as I've been thinking about this. And I read this verse in Exodus 33:11, and it's like one of those little nuggets that you never knew existed. And you're like, oh, this is really sweet. And it says, thus the Lord used to speak to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. And then that's the beginning of the verse. But that just stuck out to me. I kept thinking about that. It's like, you know, he used to speak Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. And I was like, whoa, that is so cool, that like, you know, Moses was going through all these decisions about like, how am I gonna, you know, lead my people? It's like there's so much unknown. Like, dude, are we gonna get to the wilderness or not? Like, are we gonna you know, have food tomorrow morning? Like, are we gonna make it? And they're all looking to Moses. And then like Moses has this really awesome relationship with the Lord, with God, that he's just like talking to him. And then I asked myself, like, what does it mean to talk to a friend? You know, like, what does that mean? Like, how do I do that? And it just started, like, coming up with, like, that attitude that, like, you're open, you're honest, like, you tell them everything. And I think, like, thinking from that point of view is, like, helpful. And not really, it's like, oh, there's this answer that's gonna fall out of the sky. Yeah. But, like, slowly over time, like, you start to have this sense of like, he's with me, he's not against me, like he has the next, he's not gonna let me miss my future. Like he will be there. And I think that kind of lifts a little bit of the, anxiety and the pressure. Yeah, absolutely. There's a little bit of weight there that we put on ourselves, and that is part of, the fallen nature of the world. So, yeah. But I did want to give more like applications and stuff. But I think, thanks for sharing your story. I think that's something that a lot of people face today, is like, with the time of life, like college, like school, like what am I going to do? What am I going to major? And so I would say there's two different types of confusion, I would say, or unknown. And one is like specific confusion, like you have a specific question you're trying to answer. Like, what am I going to, like, should I go to school? Should I go back to school? Should I work at Chick-fil-A? Yeah, I gotta mention Chick-fil-A. There's all these decisions, and those are more like, I guess, specific confusion. And the other would be like more of a vague confusion, where you're just like, yeah, I'm kind of floating here. I'm kind of feel paralyzed in life, and I can't even really name my confusion. And so I guess I wanted to address those two different things, because they have a little bit different spin on how you would do that. But specific confusion, I would break into these three categories. So we got a good old triangle illustration. The triangle, so you can see, it breaks it into desire, word, and counsel. So we want to meet all of these together. I didn't say that. So, like the Word of God, like what does the Word of God say? So like maybe you're thinking like, I want to be like a WWE like wrestler or something like that. And so most careers are like ethical and stuff, but sometimes like there's careers that are like, maybe that's not like an ethical job. But for the most part, like God's Word, like, it's like clear in there. It's like, okay, is it like, against God's Word to do X, Y, or Z? And, if that's yes, then, you can look at some of these other categories of like, what do the people around me say? Like, what is the counsel of other people? Like, lots of other people, like older, younger, and stuff. Like, what do they say when I tell them about this? And then, lastly is like looking at like your personal desire. Like, what do you feel about, like, does your heart rise or does it fall when you think about this? Or, and I think something that she talks about in this book is being motivated by love and not fear, because I think sometimes we have desires that are born out of fear. And so just thinking about that, and obviously, like, bringing it to counsel and God's Word, and then, prayer, and I think that's helpful.
Definitely.
I guess, like, do you have any thoughts on how, you would approach, someone that, like, has this question, and you're like, oh, what should I do?
I think counsel is definitely very important. Like, it had a lot of impact on me whenever I was trying to figure out what to do, because just having that wisdom from people that you trust, it helps a lot with, like, because people would tell me, like, you don't have to have it figured out. It's okay. Like, you just need to trust. And so, like, going to people that are older and wiser and have been through a lot of things, or have like counseled other people that have been through a lot, then it just gives you a lot of insight. And obviously you should go to the Word, and if you're thinking about a decision.
Do you feel like you have good mentors in your life, or people there for you, support system? What does that look like?
Well, I have a mentor. Her name is Peg, and she's pretty great.
Peg. Hashtag Peg.
Yeah. So she goes to Gridley Church.
Cool.
And so she's just a good, godly woman, and she's obviously been through a lot. Like, she's older and has kids, and so she's like gone through things in her own life, and like grown up with siblings and learned from their lives, and then had her own kids and learned from them. So she just has a lot of stuff that she's gone through, and so she knows quite a bit, and it's helped a lot. Because it's okay to not know. So I talked about specific confusion, like when you have this
problem or this, this question that you can verbalize.
Yeah.
And you don't know what to do.
Yep.
And I would say the other category is more of a vague confusion and of like a paralysis, that this like cloud is hovering over you and you can't even verbalize what's going on. And I don't know, have you ever felt that? Or
Yeah, it's just like, for me, it's whenever I'm stressed about a lot of different things and then I just feel like cold.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like there's so much going on that I just don't even know what to feel, and I don't have any words. There's just too many things.
Yeah.
It's not very fun.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with there's like something, there's a reason for like whatever it's going on, but sometimes like we don't even know our own heart.
Yeah.
But the thing with like God being our friend is that like, so like your friends know you pretty well, right? Like, would you say your friends know you pretty well?
Yeah.
So like, I think the more like a friend knows you, like the more they can address like the needs of your heart. And if like God knows my own heart better than I know my heart, then it's like, that's like the greatest amount of like friendship and like intimacy, and like he can like address whatever needs you have. And so that was just like something that was really heartwarming for me, because I think the second category I've fallen into more of like, there's things in my life that I can't really describe, but I just like, I have a general sense of like, I don't know what to do. And I think just coming to God is like, you're my friend and you know me, you know my heart already, and like just being honest and open and like saying that and has been something that can be has been helpful, to think about.
Yeah, I read in a book one time, I don't remember what book it was, but it just talked about how, like, God wants to know everything. Like, he's just waiting to hear from us. He's waiting for us to talk to him.
Yeah.
And, like, sometimes when we're going through really minor things that don't really seem that important, we don't want to, like, sometimes I just feel like I'm bothering God whenever I, like, try to, like, ask him for help about things, but he wants to know everything. Like, he obviously already knows everything, but he wants us to still take everything to him.
Yeah.
Even when we feel annoying, he still he just loves us all the time.
Well, it just made me giggle because I was like, it's like, how would you talk to your friend? And I was like, then talk to God like that. And it just made me think of Vinny Schick, who is this guy. He dresses everyone as bro.
He does.
And then I just started thinking about him and his friends, like,
bro,
I really need your help. But I do think, and I'm like, well, is that a good way to talk to God? But I do think that God, like he is our friend. Like, he is the greatest friend. Like, what better love does a person have than like a friend to lay down his life for another? It's like God is our greatest friend.
Yeah.
And so, like, he wants us, like, we have this access to God through Jesus, that we can come to him and kind of call him bro. And I don't know, I knew a girl that started her prayers off and it's like, hey God, it's me again, or something like that. And so I think that's definitely a good thing. And
I think that's awesome, because we shouldn't feel like we have to talk to God in like a certain way, because like, obviously everyone's different and everyone comes from different backgrounds and grew up with different things. So if you think about like a person that went through prison and they like have a bunch of tattoos and they like had a super rough background, like, they're not obviously gonna talk like they're these and thous in their prayer, because that's just not who they are. God just wants to know your heart.
As long, and like you said, there's lots of different ways you can talk to him, but like, it's all coming through Jesus at the same time. So as long as you're coming through Jesus, like in the name of Jesus, then it's good. So that's good. I like that, thinking about that. So I think, coming back to this vague confusion, there's a little bit, I think it's okay to even, there's a quote that talks about like beating on God's chest for like, I don't know what decisions you're going through, but there's even a level of like, kind of just like asking God, and like he can take it. Like he's a big God, and I think we can kind of come to him with those like hard questions and beat on his chest per se, and kind of bring that to him, and journal whatever you're going through, and I think as you do that, there can be like a narrative that comes out, like naming that narrative that's going on in your life, and then that might bring forth some more specific confusion that you can kind of like, all right, hey, godly counsel friend, like talk to someone and like, hey, here's this problem I have. And so I don't know, I think those things can help bring out the specific and naming, like what is this thing that's causing me anxiety or guilt or whatever that is. Maybe it's a new stage of life that you're entering in that you don't know how to walk, or something coming down the road. I mean, you can look at questions like, is there a dream hanging out there? Is there unexplored excitement? Is there a hurt that you haven't let go? Is there regret that's been following you? Have you made a life transition recently? Is there a recent diagnosis? Is there a friend celebrating a success that's not yours? And so I think you can listen to this narrative and then carry these narratives to the presence of Jesus. And so just kind of walking through that. Something, I guess I wanted to ask, like, what are other helpful things that you would say to someone when they come to you and like, Manda, hey, they're in the same spot you were, and you're like, I don't know what to do. How do you trust God when you don't know what to do?
I would say, again, just don't look at every decision like there's a right and wrong. Because, like, whatever you do, God will pull you through it. And, like, I feel like you just need to get to a point where you know that it's okay to not know. Like, it's just, I feel like it's kind of a humility thing. Like, you just need to be okay with not knowing, because you're not always gonna know. And just trusting.
I think that's a really good point. That takes a lot of humility. And I think the clarity that we want, I think God does give clarity. Like there's times, like you said, you kind of came up with some clarity in your situation. Not completely. Because like you have to admit that like I'll never know completely. But there is clarity that comes, but that it doesn't come in the way or the time that we want it. So you can't just like put your head down, drink enough coffee, and just think about it. I'm going to figure this out. Because that's not how it's going to come. And so I think you have to forget your timeline and just, I think that's a helpful attitude. Like I said, that's another attitude, like forgetting, your timeline and realizing that it's okay to not know. We were made to not know. And
whatever you choose, it's not final. Like, if you choose that you want to be a nurse, if it doesn't work out, then that's okay. Like, you can just do whatever's next. And, like, if you choose your job career, like, it doesn't have to be the job that you have until you retire. Like, whenever I didn't know what I wanted to do next, like, someone came to me and wanted me to babysit for them. Like, for, I don't know, like a few days a week. And like after a few weeks of doing that, I realized something about myself that I don't really want to do daycare. Like, it was just a lot of things. Like having different jobs, it just helps you to know like what you like and what you don't like. And it's okay if you don't like every job that you have. Like you just learn a lot of things about yourself. And grow.
And that's what I think when you get into the conversation of calling, even because people are like, oh, I have to figure out my calling in life. And really calling is more so what are we called to in front of us right now. And there's also more of this long-term calling, but I think that's determined like over time. And I think you said that it's okay to like switch and do things. I know someone that she was like considering going back to PA school. She's in PA school now. She's also, her kids are graduated college. But she wanted to go back to PA school. She's going through it now. And I think that's like...
That's awesome.
And that's something she said too. It's like, it's like, it's okay. You can like go back and like, do those things. And you don't have to have it all figured out now. And I think over time, you kind of discern a little bit of that calling. So, like rarely I think someone will decide like, okay, like I am called to do, X, Y, or Z. I think over time that's kind of something that comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And God mainly, it's not like we're looking for our, like, sole job. Like, it's not like we're just going to have one job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God is just calling us to love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I read Everybody Always by Bob Goff.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend. It's a great
Highly
book.
recommend. I haven't read
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's so many things that we go through in life, but God just calls us to love everyone. Like, He just, no matter what we do, we should just put others first. And, like, wherever God takes us, if He calls us to, like, work at Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
then, like, love all the people that come through the line.
Yeah.
Just, like, serve others and put your whole heart into it. And,
Yeah.
just love.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like a really helpful attitude. And there's a quote by Dallas Willard that says, "The most important thing about you is not what you achieve, but the person you become."
Mm-hmm.
And so I think as you're coming with these decisions, like, don't lose track of like who you're becoming for the sake of like, these current successes, or like, because like, yeah, it's like maybe you want to be a missionary, or you want to write a book, or you want to, I don't know, work at Bubba's.
Woody and Bubba's Barbecue.
Woody and Bubba's Barbecue. But, it's like, I think, yeah, not losing sight, because then you want to present something to other people, like, oh, look at me, like, I'm doing this, like, isn't that great? But really, it's like, God wants to ask more. It's like, okay, that's cool. Who are you?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of just digs a little bit into our hearts, like,
Yeah. It's not all about our achievements, because so many people just strive to, like, be the best and, like, have everyone look up to them and just be, like, the best person ever and have all the things. But, like, in the end, it's about who you are when you come before God, not all the things that you have.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. And I think, I guess any other more things you want to drop off on how do you trust God when you don't know what to do, advice you would give?
I think counsel is like the most important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me, when I was deciding, I made a decision a couple months ago on a new job, and I really wasn't considering it. I had this job offer, and I was like, okay, that's cool, thanks, but I'm not really gonna do that. And then I brought my roommates into a room together, and I told them the situation. Here's what I'm looking at here, and here's what I'm looking at here. Here's what I think about it. Just kind of all the stats. Like, here's my pay here. Here's my pay here. Like, everything. And I had them all together, and I was like, what do you guys think? And then I just listened and, like, got their thoughts. And I did the same thing with my parents. And then I pretty much came to the conclusion that this is actually a good thing for me.
Yeah.
I think everyone, and that was one of the main factors was, like, the people in my life were telling me, hey, you should consider this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think definitely, like, godly counsel is a huge thing.
It's really good, like, to work on humility by going to others and just listening to their advice. Like, being able to take other people's advice and just, like, growing yourself from others is so important.
Yeah, because you're probably not going to hear what you want to hear.
Yeah, probably not.
Maybe. I mean, you might hear what you want to hear.
Sometimes you do, but
yeah.
Sometimes you think you're making a great decision, and then you ask other people about it, and they're like, well, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
But then you just have to be humble and, like, actually do what they say.
Yeah.
Because that takes a lot of hard work.
Yeah. Last thing to say would be, I guess I would summarize it by saying, God gives us hope and not black and white answers. And so just consider the friendship of God, and consider, friends that God's put in your life, and you may have to search out for those people that will give you those, because it's easy just to go for the people close to us, but maybe it's probably better to...
It's easy to go to people that they're going to give you the answer that you want.
Yeah, definitely. And so consider people not like yourself, and Here's your sticker.
Yes.
You can have 2 if you want.
2 stickers? Woohoo.
I have some for Shauna for being our live audience and letting us use her apartment. Thank you for listening. At the end of every episode, we like to say, and that's how you trust God, bro. You ready?
Yep.
I'm gonna count us down. 3. And that's how you trust God, bro.